Hey, everybody. Welcome to A Million Little Podcasts. This might be the littlest A Million Little Podcast. The littlest since the recap.
What the hell is this?
That's Theo. That actually wasn't Theo. That was Jamie, who's a very good impressionist, doing Theo, who dropped a H-bomb. Not a hydrogen bomb, which is bad.
That would have been quite the mid-season turn of events.
Whoopsie doodles. Mid-season oopsie doodles. Theo.
Guys, Theo's back on his bullshit. He done bombed the town. Mm-hmm. Boston doesn't exist anymore.
Someone, I believe, followed us at...
It's a zombie show now. Shit. Happy Halloween is when we're recording this.
Yeah, we're recording this on Halloween when next week's episode airs. So we're sorry we're behind, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And that is...
we got scared because of all the ghosts, so we were hiding, and now we're back.
Mm-hmm. Now we're back, and it seems like... we didn't mean to ghost you, being scared of ghosting.
Yeah, we pulled a Katherine. We just freaking skipped town.
We skipped town, yeah.
I didn't tell anybody.
I skipped town.
We were in the Grand Canyon, sorry.
Yeah, I was defending the Grand Canyon in court against Aaron Brockovich. That was the first lawyer I could think of.
Against Aaron Brockovich.
Yep, it was me versus...
Aaron Brockovich hates the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I was just taking notes. I was the stenographer.
Yeah. So we were delayed this week. We will not be as delayed for the next one, but still a little delayed. And man, it's tough. We don't get paid for this, so we appreciate all y'all listening. And
just send us cash in the mail, and we'll be more on time.
Yeah, follow us at A Million Little Podcast on Instagram, at A Million Podcast on Twitter. And our friend Dave Miller will be showing up via a recording he made, and it's a short but good one. But right now we're talking about episode 5 of season 2, and the title of that was
Austin.
I'm Kevin, and she's Jamie, by the way.
Hi.
We're really disjointed as far as
you probably forgot.
It's
been a while.
Yeah, you do. I was going to say you don't care. You actually do. You're here, and that's nice. Maybe it's me that I don't care about me. Whew, what a year. So let's get into this tardy
You need a hug
episode.
from Danny.
I do, yeah. Danny was a little moody today.
He was.
You said it like it was a gift that was presented to you.
It was.
Danny was moody.
Well, when we were watching, I kind of forgot that Danny could be so dark and moody sometimes. It's been a while. He's been in a pretty good mood
Danny, like
recently.
a rum and ginger ale? Is that a dark and stormy?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's
I think.
dark and stormy.
Yes, he's
Cool.
dark and stormy. It was fun.
So let's talk about this episode.
Austin. They didn't really make you work hard for the title. Mm-hmm. We're immediately with Eddie and Katherine and Theo.
Yeah, they were Eddie and Katherine at that point.
Oh boy, yeah. Until they started playing I don't know you games, real estate games as Edward and Kat.
Mm-hmm. That's how it's hot. Real estate role play. Yeah. Ooh, it's a down market. It's about to go up though. Yeah.
It's there's molding. I couldn't think of anything.
No, Jamie and I are very bad at role play dirty talk.
This is why we don't do it. Gets 5 seconds in, we're like, God damn it.
Screw this.
Neither one of us has a boner anymore.
All the boners are gone.
Yeah. It's our own fault. Yeah.
Theo drops a hell bomb.
Theo drops a hell bomb. What the hell is this? And it's completely justified because they're reading a book where a woolly mammoth and a dinosaur are together, and it's true. That is completely inaccurate. And I think what Theo's really saying is that, you know, the truth does matter and facts do matter.
Okay.
And in society right now, people try to pretend like it's subjective, but in reality, mammoths and dinosaurs were not friends. I wish they were, but
it
they
would have been
weren't.
cool.
And let's not make books where it says that they were friends.
We don't have to do that.
Anyway,
their own stories are good enough on their own.
It was a very political statement.
It really kind of was, and it seems like whatever curriculum he's in is not the best one. It seems like a very non-evolution curriculum, you know?
It might have been an extracurricular book, but it might have been a funsy one. But yeah, yes, if that's from school, then we need to do a full investigation into whether they're doing creationism in this thing.
Yeah, he was pretty fired up. It strikes me as either Theo's either going to become like a Neil deGrasse Tyson, hopefully without the problematic elements that have surfaced in the past year, and without the random condescension about things that are just supposed to be fun, which has sort of become that guy's brand, I guess.
Yeah, he was real hot for a minute, and then it's like, oh, he's not. He's no Bill Nye.
No, Bill Nye's where it's at.
Hell yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson tired. Bill Nye wired. And Theo also... Yeah.
Real wired.
Yeah, real wired up on stuff.
And apparently koalas and humans have similar fingerprints, is what we also learned. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We'll allow it. And that is a fact I've heard. Also, but he was talking about how the fingerprints are confused at crime scenes. Is Theo watching like the first 48 and stuff too? It seems like his media consumption is kind of wonk for a kid of his age. But
and
hey,
Australian first
48?
48.
For that, their 48 goes the other direction.
Another koala murder.
This is disturbing. All right.
Yeah. Yes. He says this book is full of lies and I don't know what to believe anymore, which is great. It was a great Theo run. Mm-hmm. Back on some good bullshit.
Yeah.
And then to which Eddie has a very wiener reply of, me neither. Mm. Because he finds immediately that Katherine has been searching job offers in real estate in Austin. So he's like, she gonna run away again.
Yeah.
You got to nail that girl's fins to the floor.
That's a little mermaid action. That's fun. I feel like that's a saying that should pop up more in pop culture.
It does in my head.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. Good drop.
Thank you.
Yeah, but as you said, they didn't make us work too hard to figure out why the episode was titled Austin. But the weirdest part to me, and yes, basically after Eddie sees the search history, and then he has that sort of, I don't know what's real anymore either. Like, it was a real CSI Miami, but as a bummer. Like, it was like the thing that...
Except instead of the wow and he puts his sunglasses on, he just, he tries to take them off, but they, fall down into a sewer drain.
Yeah, and he just goes, oh, and then that's it, and it's the credits. Opening credits. But yeah, the what I thought was goofiest was he confronts her later, and it really is, yeah, she was looking into moving somewhere else. But one of the search engine things he found was top 10 places to live. It's like, man, you're really throwing a fucking Hail Mary, Katherine, if that's, you're just Googling top 10 lists of where to live and I guess I'll go.
It's like there's no city in the entirety of the United States that you're like, man, I'd like to live there. Just I don't know, Austin. Yeah. Surprise, Katherine. Austin has horrific pollen. Is the first thing that I thought of, because I like Austin too, but we were there once and I fully lost my voice because of the pollen. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, Katherine, what if she has allergies?
It sounded like, you sounded like you had tried to eat a full can of cotton balls and it didn't work.
Yeah, it's a great city though. Mm-hmm, I mean, it is a good choice. I'm concerned for her.
Sure.
Nasal cavity.
Yeah. So that's basically the why they're talking about Austin, and ostensibly she wants to move, but with them, she just feels like all the missteps of their previous life follow them around where they are now, and that makes sense.
Yeah, all the mean moms at school know what's up. Of course, every single one of their close friends knows what's up, and nobody can, it happened in the last episode that we watched where everyone's just like, oh, hey, Katherine, are you okay? And she's like, no, of course not.
Yeah, but shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, no one can look at her without being like, your life's bad. Mm-hmm. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so understandably, she was fantasizing about starting over somewhere else, which super makes sense. Mm-hmm. But then she says, but we can't because you have to be here for Charlie. And it's like, I mean, I guess he hasn't talked to that baby in weeks because he keeps looking longingly at the baby. And then Katherine's sad and then he doesn't talk to the baby. It's like, I don't know, guys. I know it's fresh, but you're going to have to work out some kind of a system where either he's hanging out with the baby and that's why you're here, or you do move to Austin.
Yeah, he's either dad it or don't. Mm-hmm. Shitty game show. Dad it or don't. Oh, he went don't again. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the main thing. And then, I guess if we're just covering...
Yeah, we can just blow through Eddie and Delilah. Or, excuse me, not Eddie and Katherine this time. Boy, glad I didn't do that at a dinner party with these people. That would be awkward. Oh, because they... Oh, boy, they made a baby out of it. Dad it or don't. Pass the peas. All right. Yeah. I've been on like 8 hours of flights today, getting back.
Yeah. Spooky Halloween flights. That's crazy. That's nuts. The main thing is that they, when she's talking about moving to Austin, Eddie says, you know what? There is some place we can go. And, immediately I was like, well, this is going to suck. Whatever this is that he has planned. But it's not, for them it ends up fine. They go to just a random house that is being sold, and they go in, and Eddie introduces them as Edward and Kat, and they are
sick improv, Edo.
Sick improv. I know. No one will ever find out about this. Someone named Edward and Kat came to see the house? Like, oh, Eddie and Katherine? The ones with the bad marriage?
No, I don't think so, because it was Edward and Kat.
Yeah.
Entirely different names. But
and they smiled once, so I think they're fine. And then and they say that they're thinking about moving from Austin, and they go look at the house, and then the real estate agent gets pulled away, and then they bone in the closet.
Yeah.
Fucking holy shit! In this episode, Eddie fucks.
And it's weird that Gary fucks is the rule of this show, but Eddie he's fucked so much it's problematic. It's caused a bunch of problems for people, but Eddie doesn't really fuck. Weird. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, Eddie just makes mistakes. Sex mistakes.
Sex mistakes. Wow. That should be a show. That should be. And I'm not talking about like when like Sex Sent Me to the ER or whatever it is, which is already a show.
Just bring out the people that were a mistake. Like a This Is Your Life, but only with sex mistakes.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like the sex mistakes being people who exist now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it is like Sex Sent Me to the ER, except you just talk about...
No, I think it would be... I want this to be an hour-long drama narrative series as opposed to a reality show, and it's just everyone makes sex mistakes. They don't even have to be big deals, but it could be like...
Like Sex in the City and like the ladies' brunch, and they all just start with like, well, I fucked up again.
Yes, exactly. Just where it's not... It doesn't have to be Eddie sort of life-shattering sex mistakes. It could be embarrassing things.
Yeah, it's a mix.
Yeah.
The season finale, it's going to be a really devastating sex mistake.
Right. Where it's like, I reached for a condom, I put a lettuce on it. Whoa. I blew it. I made a mistake.
Damn it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a different show. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow Sex in the City. It's.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Katherine's happy about it. She, against all odds, she really enjoyed that weird real estate games date.
Yeah, she was into it.
And she was into it. And we'll just skip to the very end real quick. The whole group takes a family photo together in which Katherine is included. And this is with the baby, which is just fucking don't.
I think fucking don't is, if these are real people, fucking don't do this.
Yeah, it's stupid. But they managed to get through that. And they go, and she's fine with it. And they hold hands. And then at the end of the episode, she and, Edward is like, I love you. And she's like, cool. And then that's it. It's fine.
Yeah. Because they're kind of taking it easy. They had a fun day.
Yeah. One of Eddie's least wienery performances.
I think so. After the cold open, Eddie really, I don't think was a wiener at all. I mean, It was, he had basically nice ideas. And I saw David Giantoli, the guy who plays Eddie. I believe if he got a certain number of retweets, he was going to put his phone number out in public again, which he did last year, right?
Yeah. That's nice.
He must have to just keep changing his phone number every time he does this, I guess.
I know, what a hassle.
But yeah,
he probably gets a burner for this.
Yeah. He seems like a nice guy, but
yeah, he's not a wiener.
Good for him to not be a wiener in this one.
Yeah.
So,
yay, they threw Eddie a bone.
Hashtag Eddie's not a wiener today.
I mean, maybe... ... Can you put ellipses in a hashtag?
Yeah. Because of Jamie's schedule and me being being out of town for the past week, we are one episode behind. So if you're listening to this episode, it's the day after the next episode came out. So maybe Eddie is a wiener again.
Almost
so don't hold this
certainly.
against us.
Yes.
But yes. So
Right.
all right. So that's their story.
We're in the past. Done. Bam. Mm-hmm. What else do you want to do? I mean, it folds in. We can do Delilah. Her whole thing basically is she's trying to figure out a picture to use for the birth announcement of her baby, which is a thing you don't have to do.
Yeah, right. But I guess their thing is it's a tradition they've done before.
That's true. Yes, it is a tradition, and she's trying to keep traditions alive.
Yeah. One of the themes of the episode really is how do you keep traditions alive? Do you make new traditions?
Yes.
Yeah, so
right, exactly. And do you stay with your person or do you run to Austin? Is the other thing. Yeah. So and for some reason she doesn't want the whole family in it though, because that's a tradition. Danny thinks everyone should be in it. Sophie does. Yeah, Sophie's into doing it exactly like they always did it.
Yes.
And she basically calls their family photographer, which is a thing rich people have, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's Richard Kind, who lends that signature A Million Little Things wackadoodle guest star energy.
That's true. The show does have wackadoodle guest star energy.
Yeah, it's just like he is in a sitcom. He's actually in an episode of... What was he in?
Was
Will
he?
and Grace?
He was in Spin City. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a great time. This is a great time to throw to Dave Miller's contribution. Just a couple minutes of Dave Miller talking about this episode from Chicago. Hopefully the next one we'll be able to get all three of us together again. But this is Dave dropping in. Spoiler: Dave is a big Richard Kind guy.
Hey everyone, it's Dave checking in from Chicago. Sorry that I am not a major part of the show tonight. A little bit under the weather here in Chicago. My sinuses have been dragging me down a little bit, but I wanted to check in about the recent episode of A Million Little Things. First of all, Richard Kind. Kevin knows for sure that I am a huge fan of the show Spin City. It was one of my favorite shows of all time. Definitely top 5. Of course, Michael J. Fox was in it. Paul Lassiter was the character Richard Kind played, the press secretary, and just loved him. Him and Michael Boatman were actually the only two characters in that show that appeared in every episode. So him and Michael Boatman, who played Carter Haywood. But getting off topic, Richard Kind played the photographer in the most recent episode. It's just unbelievable casting by this show. I mentioned Jason Ritter earlier this year, how he was going to be on the show, and he's become a big part of it. So, just this year, Jason Ritter and Richard Kind, just two big names. This show continues to get big names involved, and it's become, obviously, we love doing this show. Hopefully there's seasons 3, 4, 5, etc. with great casting, good storylines. I think that'll continue. I wrote down in my notes, Rome's dad equals bad guy, my least favorite character besides Maggie's mom. That still actually is true. Obviously, he had the nice gesture at the end, taking his wife on the cruise for the 50th anniversary. So, obviously the dinner was a disaster, but, he made up for it at the end. Still, Rome's dad I have in my notes, Rome's dad equals bad guy. He definitely is my least favorite character outside of Maggie's mom. Finally, the Gary Maggie stuff, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Maggie needs to find herself while living with Gary, which is obviously a very challenging thing to do. So we'll see if, poor Gary. We'll see if Gary reverts back to his early season 1 ways. I doubt he will. He's now kind of like that hopeless romantic guy, which I love. Gary is my favorite character for sure. We'll have to see how the Gary Maggie thing plays out. Those are the 3 things that I took away from the most recent episode. Again, thank you for listening as always, and I'll talk to you this week.
Dave Miller, everybody. Follow him at Miller_Dave, our one verified on Twitter member of this podcast. Still don't know how that works.
I don't know.
Not for nothing, I'm the most famous one.
Oh, yes. There's no chance in the world that I would be verified, but you should be.
But yeah, Dave, a public man, college football writer, Dave Miller, and podcast guy. But I very much enjoyed that Dave Miller drop in, and it makes perfect sense. And I did actually know that he's a Richard Kind guy.
Yeah,
so
big dick kind energy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Bam. So Richard Kind didn't know Jon died, so Delilah has to tell him that over the phone.
Right.
That's a bummer. And then, also Danny and Sophie are going to go play basketball, and Danny's very humble about the fact that he's going to lose because he's much shorter than Sophie.
Yeah, Sophie's tall.
He has a fun little line on that. Yeah, she is. She's tall and also older than him, so it makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. That's some Father of the Bride vibes right there.
Oh yeah,
where the
I can see that.
The older sister is big into basketball. And the whole time, Danny's looking for his wallet, and he really needs to find his wallet. Number one, do 12-year-olds have wallets? I guess. I was trying to remember.
But it was kind of as a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is Velcro, we find out in the end, which I definitely had a Velcro wallet at some point. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember when. Maybe at 12? I didn't babysit till I was like 13. So that may have been the first time I really had any cash. Right. A whole like $3 an hour or whatever it was I made in Indiana to take care of children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, childcare. It's an important thing.
Yeah, and so he's looking, he's freaking out. Basically, they decide, all right, we're going to have Richard Kind come take our picture. He clears his schedule because Jon is dead, and we're going to do it this afternoon. Danny can't find the wallet, and he says, you know what? Fuck this.
Yeah, Danny dropped it.
I'm paraphrasing.
He should have, though. Since Theo got to drop an H-bomb,
I know.
Danny should have gotten an F.
Oh, my God. If they had bleeped out Danny, that would have been freaking hilarious.
I would.
Beep this.
Drop my cereal. I would just, yeah.
Beep this. Beeping beep.
Yeah.
Beep, y'all. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But he runs away, doesn't want to do this. And we find out that he had, because of course, basically that very moment, a man shows up at the door with Danny's wallet, and he's asking for Jonathan Dixon because Danny had his dad's driver's license in his wallet, because that's how he keeps him close to him, and he thought if he had the license, then Jon would be in the picture with them kind of secretly, which is lovely.
It's very nice. Yeah, I've done things like that in a less touching way. Where when I went to when the Cubs made the World Series in 2016, the jersey I chose to wear was that of Ron Santo, who was a Cubs great who had passed away, because I wanted Ron Santo to have some presence in the stadium because he never got to play in the World Series. That is
touching, though.
That's me and Danny, I guess. That's yet again.
Of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of course I married a Danny.
Yeah.
And then they have a little family heart-to-heart in Danny's room with Sophie and Delilah and the baby, and Danny's upset because it feels like they're moving on without Dad. And Delilah basically tries to, and Sophie wants to move on, and so it's sort of the two, you want to move on, you don't want to move on, you're both missing the person, it's just different sides of the same coin.
Sure, and I think Sophie largely wants to move forward as opposed to on, really, where she just wants to keep going and do the things they always used to do.
Right.
And she doesn't want the fact that her dad's not there to stop it, and that's the thing that comes into play when Maggie's talking to them later about a tradition where they'd go basically dive in a lake or something.
They go to rent a lake house every New Year's Eve. They go dive in the lake with her brother. They stopped doing it after he died, and Maggie wishes they would have kept doing it. So this is sort of Sophie in real time doing the Maggie thing, where I feel like she feels like we should still keep doing the thing. And then Delilah realizes at some point from Maggie and says, what she says instead of, she's like, we should have stopped going to the lake house because that's a thing we all did together, but we should have come up with a new tradition that we all did as a family, without the dead brother.
Yeah, they do something else, something new.
Yes. So Delilah comes up with a solution, which is the family photo, but with all of their friends and the big dog and Katherine
Yes.
and the baby. So they do the birth announcement with all their buds.
And one person you cucked.
And one person that you cucked.
Yeah.
Which is so uncomfortable. But other than that part, I get it. We've taken many Christmas cards with our friends as our family. That was our whole thing.
We used to room with a bunch of people. We came out from...
You can see the evolution of our roommates through our Christmas cards.
Yeah, we went to college with a bunch of people, and then we lived mostly a pack of 5 in our first years here in New York. And we had, many years of Christmas photos that we would set up and do together. But the question I was going to ask was, when was the last time you got 8 of your friends... They're the same age group as us, in theory. They're all older than us, I think. Or a lot of them are older than us in real life, but they're playing mid-30s.
We're very young.
When was the last time you got 8 of your friends to show up, like, day of?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not, this isn't a criticism of the show. I'm just saying, like, I don't. That does.
Well, I mean, it happens every episode.
Yeah, right. And it's always a surprise. That is, I guess, that could be kind of a show critique. It's like, guys, everyone showed up for us this time. It's like, everyone's been showing up at some point for like 40
yesterday.
20 episodes in a row.
Yeah, exactly. It's always, it's like the heartwarming moment. And it gets less heartwarming the more it happens.
Right.
And and the less realistic it is. If it had been a week later, it'd be like, yes. You give people a week's notice, everyone's showing up and bringing their dog. How did they even get that dog in the car? For crying out loud. But it's nice, and they take the picture, and that's the new tradition, and everybody's happy, and Danny's not sad anymore. Except for the baseline sad, because his dad died.
Sure. Premise of the show.
Right. Yep. You know what I mean. So do you want to do Gary or Rome? I guess Rome's not that...
Sure. Let's do Rome, because basically I would like to say that the Rome director thing is an insane scene. It's weird because someone's directing this episode. A real director is involved here. You know what I mean? So that person has directed stuff before. And
you can just look at what they're doing.
Yeah. So it's weird to see how directing is portrayed, I guess, in this a little bit. But Rome is just directing. They've cast a couple that just looks like Rome and Gina. So that's weird. And then they have a kid-centric talk in the car.
For the Lexus commercial, and it is huge Lexus product placement. There's a giant Lexus sign right beside them.
Yeah, they refer to it as a luxury car a number of times.
Yes. I think that answers our question we posed a little while ago of just like, are they paying for this? Or is that just storyline, this would be a big account and thing Lexus is
Lexus is paying for this. That's the business of television, and that's fine.
That's fine. That's how you get paid.
Yeah, get paid.
Do it.
So I thought he was insane in the way that he also was just like, yes, that's great. And remember, she's your wife, so you talk to her like this. It's like, this would have been covered in the audition. Like, he knows. Like, it's just a super...
Oh, I forgot to tell you, the woman in the car with you is your wife.
It's a very, like, improv scene. It's like the scene's being improv, no, as someone who I've done, like, commercials and stuff, it's, no, ahead of time. So,
yes, that was a little funny. And essentially... the actors are acting out the scene that Rome and Gina really had in a car, where he's like, let's have a baby, except in real life, show life, Gina was like, nah. But in the commercial, they're like, yes, happy ending. We're going to buy a car and have a baby.
So Rome seemed insane to me at the beginning of this scene, but now I think ultimately Gina's more insane. Go ahead.
I went back and forth because, yes, he was definitely crazy at the beginning. And then, holy shit, this commercial is Rome's baby fantasy. And Gina's there watching it. And she is, of course, like, what is this?
Yo.
But then I think at the end of the scene, she's saying, what she says is, he's like, what? And she's like, it's like, she's like, in a national commercial that everyone's going to see. It's like, well, that's not the part that's bad.
No,
nobody knows who the fuck you are. It doesn't matter.
Nobody cares. Does anyone, how many people listening to this podcast know us on a pretty personal level? How many of you guys know I just did a Denny's spot? You know what I mean? Like, nobody really.
No.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows who does commercials. No one gives a fuck. And in the Denny's spot, I played me. I was like, I'm really being me.
And you're like, man, eggs are great. I hate my wife, Jamie.
Yeah. Go
to Denny's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And everyone was, and as Denny's stock is up, you guys have seen.
Nobody knows. Yes, it's just crazy that the line at the end is like that, oh, everyone's going to see this. It's like, well, nobody knows that. The reason it's crazy is that it seems like Rome is using this national commercial to act out his fantasy of how he wished that conversation had gone, which is crazy because it's like, maybe you should have brought it up instead of just making a whole commercial about it that you seem to not realize. That is nuts. I think she's right to be weirded out by it, just not the reason she gave at the end of the scene.
Yeah, I think so too, but the fact that she holds on to it as long as she does, it basically, this guy, he's a director and writer, and we're going to say, right? We're giving him that. He wrote a screenplay that he was very excited about, and now he's doing commercials, which he hates, in theory. For her. So you gotta give a little slack there, and also, it's like she's never seen him direct or write anything before. It's a real amateur wife of a creative person move, I think. It'd be where she's like, what, you're bringing our life into your work? Yeah, everyone does that. Right. I mean, I know he's doing it in a weird way, yes, but she's like, it's almost like, I have a friend of mine, Adam Mamawala, who I do a baseball podcast with, and he was just
follow away games if you like baseball.
Yeah, and the Cubs. And he was doing, he was dating this girl a little bit, and he just referenced in his stand-up that he was dating someone younger, and she fucking freaked out about it.
Yeah,
so it's like, that's what Gina strikes me as here. It's just like, what? And he's not using her name. It's not,
Right, and I think that the real freak out, and that's the main thing, is because, like, yes, the part about it being public is nothing. But the part, I mean, they get to it at the very end, which is, like, sort of the same thing. It mirrors a little bit Maggie and Gary, where it's like, your person is going through something, obviously, and they're handling it, like, not with you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like, that's
fair.
It's like, if you're making a national commercial about this, maybe we should be talking about it. I think is the real issue, is what it's supposed to be. And at the end, like, because Rome's parents show up, there's a whole thing. It's their anniversary. His mom really wants an Alaskan cruise. Her dad gives her the cruise. She's very happy. And then he's like, great, let's go on your stupid cruise. That's a quote verbatim from the episode. And then she's mad, of course, because he ruined it. And then, they end up making up. We'll go over that in a second. But at the end, Gina's like, I want to be married to you forever, but I don't want to be like your parents where we don't talk about stuff like they don't. And I think that's the actual problem, which is a real thing to be upset about. But all the stuff about just the commercial is definitely nothing to actually be that upset about.
But it is the fact that they're working things out without actually bringing it to the other person. Yeah, that's not sustainable.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing to call out. And as Dave Miller pointed out in his in the 2 minutes of Dave you got a few minutes ago in the show, he wrote that Rome's dad equals bad guy, and Rome's dad sucks ass. Rome's dad is a bad person, and
I forgot about all the shit from before where he didn't want Rome to be depressed.
Yeah, he hates depression.
It's like,
cool dude. And yet he's an asshole to everyone in his life.
And I would have to look back. In my head, I feel like this is a different dude from the other scenes. And maybe it's just because he was dressed up, and before he was like dude. Fixing a sink, I completely forgot. Mom's the same for sure. She was on Lost.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just an asshole. And I don't know. sometimes people are assholes.
Yeah.
Like, and this guy is a consistent asshole.
Some people are nice but fuck up. Some guys are consistent assholes.
He's a consistent asshole. They've been married for 50 years, and to me, that's not exciting. It's not good to be married to an asshole for 50 years who you have to browbeat into being halfway decent about a 50-year anniversary gift, which, by the way, when you've been with someone that long, Jamie and I have been together 17 years, it's hard to come up with new ideas for gifts. She made it really easy on him and said exactly what she wanted to do, and if she's asked you more than one gift-giving occasion for this and you haven't given it to her,
you fucked
get
up.
fucked, you dumbass. Like, he sucks, and as Dave pointed out, Maggie's mom is the only one who competes with this guy for piece of shit on the show.
If you really are into your person, I have no desire to go on a cruise. The thought of an Alaskan cruise is not fun to me. But if Kevin was like, man, the one thing I want for Christmas this year is I want to go on an Alaskan cruise, I'd be like, well, all right, let's go on a fucking
That's what
cruise.
we're doing. Yeah.
We're going, I'm going to do all the prep I need and pack all the Dramamine and shit, so hopefully I can have a great time on this fucking cruise.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'd say let's go on this stupid cruise, but in a way that's like, yeah, let's go on this.
Do a shot
cruise.
and figure it out. Yeah, I mean, for me, the more exciting thing would be if she dumped his ass. If Rome's mom dumped his dad. His dad dresses up in his military blues
They
at the
reference
end.
his dress blues before.
Right.
And Rome does make a joke about how he still fits in them, which I was at the same time writing down. Like, miraculously, like 50 years later, he fits in his dress blues. Okay, Dad.
Yeah, I have photos of my dad in his dress blues and dress whites. He does not fit in them today,
No.
but he looks great in them. In the 70s. My dad
It's a good look. I don't know how humans came up with military outfits, but they are solid.
Yeah, it's good.
People look good in that shit.
Yep. So whatever, basically, that's it. That's their storyline.
They make up. He apologizes. They're going to go on the cruise. They have a night, which is like, good, great. I hope everything turns out wonderful.
He should marry Maggie's mom and go be pieces of shits together.
He should. Oh, maybe that'll be the finale.
Yeah.
And maybe Rome's mom will marry Maggie's dad.
Yeah, that seems good. A cuck for a good reason. A double cuck.
Oh, we're shipping Rome's mom and Maggie's dad.
Ship these cucks.
Yes, shipping them all the way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean that was the main thing, and then Rome and Gina talk it out at the end, and it is. I mean, it's a good. I think it was a very good scene in the bathroom where Gina lays out again that she wants to be with him forever and etc. and wants to do something where he's still happy, and he's like, what do we do? And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's
good answer.
Very valid. It's the that song, the Sometimes Love Ain't Enough, and that's complicated, but it's true. Like, they love each other, but it's not necessarily 100% sure that their lives match up.
Yeah,
and that's a possibility. So.
Yeah. Oh, also, Rome's dad tried to make the point to Gina. It's like, well, has Rome ever asked you to do something you didn't want to do? And she's like, yeah. He's like, did you do it? She's like, no. And it's like, bud, I know he doesn't know it in the scene, but you're comparing having a baby to going on a cruise for a week.
Yeah.
So, fuck that scene.
Yeah, what a baby. Yeah.
It's as if Gina has a realization. It's like, you're right. I didn't
have a baby right away.
I didn't get pregnant for a year and then raise a baby forever. And also, you didn't commit to an entire 7 days on a boat. Same thing.
Yeah, that's right. And that's that dad just being a friggin' dumbass.
Yeah,
so.
that's not important, but I was like, shut up.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do Maggie and Gary.
Whoop whoop. First thing that happens to Gary is he has floss stuck in his teeth, and I was like, this is a real problem. It does induce panic. It's happened to me. It's hard to figure out.
Jamie going full Bernie Sanders voice. This is a real issue. This is something working people are dealing with. Yeah.
The 1% can afford those flosses that have the handles, and it just goes in and out, and it's easy.
Separate handles, one floss per tooth. This is not something that the working class.
The 1% can just call a dentist to their house.
Yeah.
Whereas the 99%.
I haven't seen a dentist in 45 years. I feel bad about it. Yeah.
Haven't been to a barber either, but you knew that.
Yeah. I don't own one suit that was originally made for a man of my size. Everything is my much larger father's. Okay.
So that's our political commentary for the week.
Bernie 2020. Yeah.
Woo woo.
Yep.
Anyway, floss. But Gary's talking about going to their remission group for cancer, and Maggie blows him off and says she's busy, and he's like, it's fine, let's go later.
I heard remission group, and I was like, we're doing remixes? Cool.
It's the remish to cancer.
Yeah.
Hot and fresh out the cancer ward. I can't. Look, I'm not a rapper.
I know, but I appreciate when you go into a freestyle, you get right up to the rhyme part, and then you just really take a seat.
I bail. I just jump. I jump out of the moving car and roll to safety.
Lady Bird it.
Yeah, I really do. So, what are we?
It's so Gary gets floss stuck. Is basically that's as far as we've gotten. That's really the whole story.
What else? I think that's about it.
Well, and then he wants to go to the group. Basically the group that sort of brought them together, and she is not down to do that.
She's not down to do that, and Gary ends up going by himself and just charming the pants off all these cancer survivors who are all women in this group.
Breast cancer survivor group. Remember, the ratio is big time for Gary.
And then one of the ladies in the group, he's asking them advice about Maggie, which it's like, I feel like this is not a good use of everyone's time, but it is relevant. So, and they know her.
Yeah, but it's almost weirder that they know her. It would be less weird for him to be talking to the group about problems he's having with his girlfriend.
Right.
It's weirder to be like, oh, Maggie, who's here sometimes, let's dish about her.
Yeah. It's it's a little weird, but, fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
And one of the ladies who I cannot remember if we know that she boned Gary.
I assume everyone did.
I assume everyone did. But she basically says that Gary had said once, for survivors, there is no life without cancer. And she said, some people want to be here and talk about it. Some people want to move on. Maggie wants to move on. That's why she's not here. Heads up, Gare. She's not busy. She's blowing you off. And he's like, oh, okay. So meanwhile, Maggie found her casket binder, her funeral plans, and ends up throwing those away, which is a big step. Obviously, she has trouble throwing stuff away. She was keeping all her cancer meds.
All the pills,
So she does that, and then she talks about going to the cabin with her family, not going after her brother died. She's talking to Delilah, and then she brings up the psychic, and says, the psychic said a part of Chad lives on, and wonder if the psychic meant his heart inside of Eric. And it's like, he didn't, but He
didn't, but you're doing his job for him. That's what happens with psychics, so cool.
So she shows up at Eric's music store crying, and just touches his heart out of nowhere.
The creepy move.
A little creepy, but I think by now Eric's probably used to it. I gotta assume Maggie's mom was grabbing his shirt all the time.
Yeah.
And so she and Eric chat about that stuff and music. Eric doesn't play an instrument. He has a music store that he inherited from his dead wife. He does say he took clarinet lessons in order to get to know her. Clarinets are hot right now. I played clarinet.
You did play clarinet. Is there anything else clarinet-wise in the zeitgeist right now?
One of our friends on Instagram was playing her clarinet.
That's good enough. Sure, we'll take it.
Yeah,
I feel like at Jamie with 2 eyes, and
I feel like there was another one too, but I forget now.
Yeah, well, I think it
Lizzo plays a flute. That's close.
I was going to say Lizzo's a flautist, so yeah,
we're getting there.
She got it.
And it turns out Maggie plays the piano. I don't know that we knew that before.
No, but everyone on the show, as you pointed out, everyone's a musician. On some shows, no one's a musician. On this show, everyone's a musician. Basically, Sophie obviously is. Yeah. Danny is now Danny in Greece.
Musical theater superstar.
Eddie has not been on tour, but he's been in a band that doesn't tour.
Yeah.
But they lie about it and say they do. But whatever, that's band involved.
In theory.
And now we have Maggie as well.
And now we have Maggie, who... Yes, plays piano and sings, we find out. Basically, she says a thing about her brother, when she's practicing piano, said he would come and sit in the front row. You concentrate on me. That way you wouldn't be scared of being in front of a big crowd. But she never did be in front of a big crowd. Eric says, hey, I know of an open mic night. Let's do that. I'll be in the front row so you won't be nervous. Mm-hmm. Fine. So we assume that she does that. Mm-hmm. Gary comes home.
Singing Let My Love Open the Door.
Yes. We see her on a stage singing Let My Love Open the Door, which is a great song. It's what I walked down the aisle to. Mm-hmm. The mix that was on the Gross My Blank soundtrack. Mm-hmm.
A haunting version.
A haunting version. Mm-hmm. And then we see Gary comes home. She's not there. He finds the flyer. Of course, he goes to the place. And what we see is Gary seeing Maggie on the stage, looking at Eric, singing this romantic song.
Yeah.
And then he leaves. And then there's a little camera switcheroo. And then there's a dude on stage. And Eric's watching a dude. And then Maggie's alone in her apartment, I guess, imagining that she's on the stage singing to Eric.
But then did she imagine Gary got mad?
I think Gary went but saw that she wasn't there.
And then got flustered.
Left.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, because otherwise it doesn't, it was weird. That was weirdly shot. I think we do a good job going out of our way to be like, this is sometimes when you're talking about a TV show all the time, sometimes you're talking shit about characters, but that's not anything bad about the story or the construction of the show, because sometimes you should be mad at characters. Characters do dumb stuff because that's what life is.
Yeah.
I think this was kind of poorly done. This was just like a weird directorial choice.
It was confusing. Yeah. It took a second to be like, wait, what? We had to reconstruct it mm-hmm. in our minds.
I think we got it, most of it, but it's just,
so.
but it was just strange.
Yeah, it was weird.
Tried to do too much. Don't got to be that tricky about it.
Don't even worry about it. But yes, at some point, and I can't remember. Oh, Gary does go up to Maggie after they take their group picture and is sort of like, "Hey, what's up?" Because he can tell she's off. I know you blew me off for the thing. You didn't come to the cancer group. What's happening? She says she's trying to figure out who we are without cancer. Mm-hmm. Since I met you, I've been dying. I want to get back to living. I don't know how to do that. He's like, great, let's do that. She says, this is something I need to do myself. Bye. Like, okay. Well.
Yeah, we tried to talk, and it didn't work out, I guess.
Yeah, that's a little... it's like there's... I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's parts of it, I'm sure, that you need to do by yourself.
Sure.
But it's weird to just be like, nah.
I mean, it's...
we don't need to talk about cancer anymore. I'll do that elsewhere.
Right. It's... I think it's very valid to be like, there's some stuff I have to figure out on my own, but then you're... At this point, it's kind of like, and it seems like maybe they're going this way, but then maybe you're not together, because either you are or you aren't, and he's made the move to try to bridge the gap here, and she's really not interested in involving him at any step.
Yeah, the way they're making it sound is that she's like, it sounds like, oh, we got together because of cancer, we got through cancer together, mm-hmm. Now neither one of us has cancer, I need to figure out what I want to do. Not with you necessarily. Like, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to go sing songs in my old apartment by myself. Which, by the way, I mean, that sounds like a good little therapeutic thing. You have your separate apartment to go sing songs in. That sounds nice. But, it seemed like a little... It seemed like she's on her way out the door. Yeah,
she's definitely going that way, and whether Gary draws her back in or not, yet to be seen.
Not if she loses his damn dog like it seemed like in the preview.
You guys might know this already if you've seen tonight's episode, the episode that's airing the night we're recording this.
Yeah.
And hopefully we should have that episode up tomorrow. So this episode will not get as many listens probably, but we'll be caught back up in the next day or so. But yeah, coming up next week, Maggie loses fucking Colin. Maggie, you're canceled. As we talked about, Maggie, if you lose Colin, you are canceled. Yeah. And Gary should not even fight for you.
Yeah.
How you do
this
that?
This is going to go downhill real fast.
I have beef with people who don't do right by dogs.
Yeah, I
Big
know.
time.
I feel like I'm going to have to check the doesthedogdie.com just to be safe.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we can plug doesthedogdie.com. If you're like me and seeing a dog die even fictionally in a TV show will ruin your fucking week, then you can check this website, doesthedogdie.com, where they will tell you. They will spoil
Yes or
that
no.
for you, and they have a huge database of movies and
And
television.
OMG, they have everything. Literally, they have a whole list. It's like they'll tell you if a dragon dies.
Yeah.
If that's your thing. They'll say if there's eyeball mutilation.
Yeah.
Anything that'll make you like be sad for the rest of the movie, they can tell you if that happens or
Yeah,
not.
things that'll bum you out.
Yeah, which is great. What a good resource.
Yeah. So doesthedogdie.com. Wonderful. Hopefully it won't be terribly useful next on the next episode. And if it is, Maggie, you canceled. I think that's about it for us on this episode, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can follow us on Twitter at @AMillionPodcast, on Instagram at @AMillionLittlePodcast. And yeah, we were delayed a full week on this one. It was truly impossible to do this before now. I've been traveling
Yeah.
around doing stand-up and stuff. And
We would have needed a flux capacitor and some uranium.
which I'm open for if you guys want to send some in. If the Million Little Potties out there wanna throw it in. What a problematic fan name we have.
Oh no.
We're 1 million little potties. We're a post-Jon
Ew.
situation. Yeah.
This has been Kevword and
Yeah. All right. So, Jamie, anything else before we go? Anything we missed?
Nope.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back on our schedule and bullshit soon.
A million little bye.